Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Koen van Gelder. I'm the team lead for e-commerce market research at Statista, and I'm here to talk to you about the e-commerce customer journey in 2025 and beyond. Now, before I start, a quick announcement. I'm going to be sharing a lot of data with all of you, a lot of graphs, a lot of percentages, and I'm going to go through it pretty quickly over the next 30 minutes. So in order to prevent you from having to take pictures of every slide that has a graph, I included a tiny QR code at the top right of every slide and a larger one at the end for you to be able to download the presentation afterwards and allow you for now to just sit back and watch and listen. So this is the agenda for today. We're going to start with talking about the consumer, who they are. Then, of course, we're getting into AI, followed by a discussion about channels where consumers like to shop, especially online marketplaces and social commerce. And finally, the second half of the customer journey, which is everything from conversion to payment, delivery, and post-purchase behavior. Now, today's e-commerce shopper, who are they? This question is getting more and more difficult to answer each year. If we think back 10, 15 years ago, it was a lot easier because the e-commerce shopper back then was likely a younger consumer, a millennial, and perhaps someone who would consider themselves to be kind of a digital pioneer, someone who loves new tech and loves to talk to their friends and family and colleagues about e-commerce and about how easy it is to shop online. But fast forward to 2025, where e-commerce penetration rates are breaching the 50% mark across Europe. Everyone's an e-commerce shopper, regardless of social class, of generation. So it's getting more difficult to answer. But what we can do is look at, what do they carry into the customer journey? What do they like to do when they shop online? And of course, we're going to start with price. With cost of living crisis and inflation being high in recent years, price was enhanced even more as the number one consumer driver. And this is no wonder. A primary reason for consumers to even shop online compared to in physical stores is because they think they can get products cheaper that way. Then, of course, sustainability has been for quite some time now and is still a very important consumer value. Whereas this used to be more of a value that younger consumers had, right now, because the term sustainability has been around for a while, also in e-commerce, consumers of all generations carry this into the customer journey. Now, sustainability has been a term that retailers have been talking about for a long time, which means that consumers have also gotten slightly skeptical of, let's say, fake sustainability and greenwashing practices. Now, the consumer who doesn't really care that much about price, for them, convenience is its top priority. Right now in e-commerce, there are so many channels, so many stores, so many devices you can use to get to the end result, buying the product that you want, which is a huge opportunity for consumers because they can always find the best deal for themselves. But it's also a huge source of frustration because it just takes a lot of time to find the perfect way towards your product. Which is why convenience is a number one priority for them because they don't want to spend too long shopping online. Parts of that is that omnichannel is a must. The online environment and the physical store need to be seamlessly integrated, and hyper-personalization comes into play. But I'll get to that more in a second. And finally, today's e-commerce shopper shops wherever they are and whenever. And I mean this in a physical sense, like they can be waiting for the bus, open up their phone, and buy something on a retailer's website. But also they like to shop online where they are online, where they are digitally. And for Gen Z, that means on social media. In-app shopping within social media platforms is a great way for younger consumers, especially, to make the whole shopping journey a lot easier. Because that's where they are. They are on social media. They don't want to have to go to a retailer's website to complete the purchase. Now, the promised data. What does the German e-commerce consumer wish for in 2025? At the very left, we see affordable pricing being the number one consumer wish for retailers to tackle in 2025 in Germany. And when we look at this graph, we see two things that are especially noteworthy. So firstly, when we look at the top four, so from left to right, e-commerce wishes in Germany at the moment, 3 out of 4 are price related. So affordable pricing, free returns, and cheaper delivery. Data security is in the second spot, and now we're in Germany here. We've also fielded this survey in the United States, the UK, and Japan, and there it doesn't even rank among the top 10. This is a specific German outlier, but it's very important to all consumers here. A second noteworthy pattern here is that when you look at Generation Z, so the light purple bars, you'll see that they actually, their top 3 priorities, it's pretty close together, but their top 3 priorities are all delivery related. So we're talking free returns, cheap delivery, and quick delivery. Whereas older generations have a much more balanced, sort of a wider range of priorities that they have for their consumers. Now we're already going to jump into the artificial elephant in the room and the topic that most of the talks have been about over the past 2 days, AI and how it assists in online shopping. So I've attended quite a few talks over the past days from retailers, and very fascinating how they explained how they use AI to optimize their processes in the back end. So I won't stand here and try to sum all of those ways up, but basically most of you will know it comes down to optimizing the supply chain, making everything more and more efficient. And here on this graph, we can see that this new technology, AI, has really been welcomed with open arms by the European and also American B2C e-commerce business industry. Like, for example, 31% of German B2C e-commerce companies have fully implemented AI in their operations, and a further 48% are experimenting with the technology. And it's quite a similar picture for other countries here. As you can see, only very few companies do not want to use AI at all in the B2C e-commerce space, now, which really shows that this technology is being adopted massively by the industry. But does the consumer think the same way about this? You probably guessed it, not to the same extent. They're a bit more skeptical. These are the AI features that German shoppers desire most in online retail. And, well, no surprise, price comparison is on top, followed by product search and product recommendations. But when we look at the other, let's say, more futuristic AI features that are on this list, like augmented reality-powered virtual try-ons or a virtual shopping assistant even, only a small minority of German consumers are waiting for these features or desire them at the moment. Now, this doesn't mean, of course, that they have no chance of success. This has a lot to do with teaching or educating the consumer on how these technologies can be a benefit to them and their shopping journey. It's hard to desire something like a virtual shopping assistant when you don't know what it is, or let alone how it can help you. But still, there's a large group of consumers also that is categorically uninterested in AI in their e-commerce shopper journey, and that's 24% of respondents for this survey. Now, another big topic for this expo has been personalization, and the 2025 version of that term is hyper-personalization. And here we see how many shoppers in the different markets agree that e-commerce platforms can tailor the customer journey based on their past behavior. In the US and the UK, especially younger consumers are quite happy for a personalized shopping journey. Roughly half of consumers there, younger consumers, would like their data to be used for a better customer behavior in the future. But when we look at Germany, here consumers are a lot more skeptical about their data, as we saw earlier as well, with just a third of consumers thinking of hyper-personalization as a blessing, and the other 2/3 as more of a threat or something they are not interested in. Now, I included this slide as well because I know we have a very internationally diverse audience here at the Expo. I won't go into all the countries, we don't have time for that, but this is the share of shoppers in most European countries and some outside of Europe as well that are interested in a personalized shopping experience. And we see that Portuguese consumers are most interested, but consumers in countries like Finland, the Netherlands, or Sweden are a bit more hesitant to use this technology. Now, I've been talking a lot about personalization with survey results, but what does it actually look like? Well, there are many retailers, Zalando I picked here as an example, that already incorporate these elements in their online storefronts or on their apps. And an easy way for retailers to implement personalization features on the shopping journey is by coming up with a conversational AI chatbot. Zalando has a ChatGPT-powered fashion assistant that allows you to ask a question about something you want to wear for a certain occasion, rather than having to, say you want to buy a dress for a wedding you're attending in Italy in the summer. If you would do that the old-fashioned way, you would filter for dresses, then for size, price range, materials, colors, and spend page after page after page looking for your right options. But here you could simply ask, what should I wear to my friend's wedding in Italy this summer? And if you're already a customer for a longer time, then there's a good chance that with a very pinpoint accuracy, your right product can be shown to you. Now, this goes beyond ChatGPT-powered chatbots as well. A landing page can be fully customized to users' individual preferences, but also to other inputs that can be used by the AI. For example, where is the user at the moment? What's the weather like there? Is there anything special going on in their city at the moment? As such, AI can design a landing page that puts the user in the right mood, let's say, to start their shopping journey. And finally, if you're willing to send in your pictures to the retailer, your size and fit can be sort of predicted with better accuracy, which means that the product you order will likely fit you and you won't have to return it, saving a lot of hassle and cost for both retailer and consumer. Now, at this stage of the customer journey, the consumer has found their inspiration, they've discovered what they want. Now they're just looking for a channel, a storefront where they can confirm their purchase. And we're talking about social commerce and online marketplaces. Now, another big topic, especially last year at the expo here, is social commerce. And even though it's definitely growing and it's coming up big, it's not yet making a real dent in the dominance of online marketplaces in Europe. This is just an example of the biggest online marketplace in Europe and their impressive revenue growth over the last 10 years, just to signify how strongly they have been growing recently. And there's a good reason for that. Because from the consumer's perspective, online marketplaces are the #1 inspiration source, the #1 browsing channel, and the #1 ordering channel compared to all other shopping channels, including physical stores and search engines and brand websites and D2C retailers, etc. Because it's just very easy to start your customer journey on an online marketplace and just stay there until you complete the order. It's a one-stop e-commerce shop, which is why it's so popular. Now, when we look at transaction data, and again at some key European markets, we see that in Germany and Italy especially, online marketplaces are very popular, have a high share of the total B2C e-commerce market. These percentages reflect the share of online marketplaces transactions in total e-commerce. And 44% of transactions in Germany and Italy happen on online marketplaces. Now, onto social commerce. This is a market model and market forecast from our Statista Market Insights. And we see massive growth in recent years. So back in 2018, the market was valued at 6.3 billion euros, which roughly equates to a 4% market share in overall e-commerce. But that has grown by over 400% since then to a market value of 33 billion euros. And by 2029, we forecast a 53 billion euro market value, which will equate to almost 20% of the entire e-commerce revenue in that year. Now, it's important to note that this forecast was made before TikTok Shop's decision to launch in Spain and Ireland and plans to announce in Germany. So let's call this a conservative forecast, but it doesn't change the point. Social commerce is definitely growing and will become a bigger factor going forward. Now, how do online marketplaces deal with this? Is this a threat? Is this sort of a different channel that may take revenue away from them? Well, when we look at China, a market that is ahead of the European one in many ways, where live stream commerce is very popular, we actually see that these influencer-based live stream commerce streams are mostly occurring on online marketplaces right now, not on social media platforms. So the online marketplaces there have just taken the winning concept that social media has and implemented that in their own storefront. And that is happening in the West now as well. Here's an example of Amazon shoppable posts. When you buy a product, you can upload a product review video, and that makes you an influencer because people can watch your video. If they buy the product afterwards, you earn some money with it. Taking a social element from social media, putting it on the online marketplace, making it an even more complete online store. So yeah, is social commerce a threat for online marketplaces? Well, if they treat it like this, I would say it just completes them even more. And now on to the second half of the customer journey. So everything from conversion to finally post-purchase behavior. The checkout process, the order process, is probably the most vital part of your e-commerce customer journey from the retailer's perspective, because cart abandonment is a big issue. And here are some of the top reasons why carts are abandoned globally. And the main thing that consumers really are frustrated by and really don't like is unexpected costs occurring at the last step of the checkout process, or delivery fees being too high. Other leading cart abandonment reasons here are that the product is simply cheaper elsewhere. At the last minute, they still want to look for a cheaper alternative, or delivery time being too long. Now, if the cart is actually confirmed, you go on to the last page of the order process. Payments can also be a frustrating step in the customer journey, if not all payment options are offered, for example. But luckily, there are 3 trends in digital payments happening now in 2025 that will make things a lot easier, more convenient for retailers and for shoppers. Starting with digital wallets, like Apple Pay, Google Wallet, PayPal. They are breaking through in physical stores, but also in e-commerce, which means that you can use the same payment application to pay in an omni-channel way, which is what the consumer desires. Now, in the Asia-Pacific region, they already have market dominance over other payment methods digitally, and in Europe, it's also coming up. And it's coming up even faster in 2025 because of Wero. Most of you have probably heard of this. This is Europe's new unified payment system, combining all national sort of instant payment systems that already exist in European countries. And it's being rolled out at the moment. And this is a digital wallet, sort of a European competitor to the American wallet giants that I just mentioned. Now, Wero also allows real-time payment, which is a major benefit, and also the most cited global trend right now in digital payment, the most influential one. Money transferring instantly between countries, between devices, between a seller and buyer. This will just make everything more convenient for all the parties involved. There's also EU regulation behind this to make sure that this has to be done in 2025. Now, aside from taking away frustration from your shoppers and making like all these potential pain points a bit easier for everyone, you can also reward your shopper for choosing your store. And then we end up at loyalty programs, which have been around since the dawn of e-commerce, but are regaining relevance again because prices are high, because of the cost of living crisis. People are just looking for deals, and loyalty programs have thus been identified by Statista as one of the top consumer trends for 2025. And where retailers have an especially big opportunity when it comes to loyalty programs is personalizing them. You can send the same 10% discount coupon to all your consumers within a certain country, or everyone who bought an item within the last 6 months. But what if you can send a discount code to each consumer for the category of items that they'd like to purchase next, or even better, for the exact item that they are thinking about buying next? This will be much more effective, and the consumer will have their personalized shopping journey that they desire. And now the parcel just needs to be delivered, right? We've talked about the start of the shopping journey. A channel has been selected. The order has been placed. Are we done? No, we're not. Delivery is probably the most complex step in the customer journey, both for the shopper and for the seller. Because both parties are at a crossroads. It's a dilemma. We want free delivery, we want sustainable delivery, and we want convenient delivery. But most of you will know these don't automatically go hand in hand. E-commerce delivery, has a carbon footprint. Everyone knows that. The diesel engine delivery van is still the norm in most markets, and of course, new technologies can reduce that, like electric vehicles, drone delivery. That's a real thing in some markets in Europe already. And parcel lockers are examples of how the delivery process can be more environmentally sustainable. But that requires investments from logistics deliverers, but also from the retailers. And the consumer needs to make some unwanted concessions when they want to opt for sustainable delivery. The problem is that only 25% of European shoppers are willing to pay extra for sustainable delivery. They don't want to be bothered with this dilemma. They just want the retailer to solve it. In contrast, nearly half of European consumers are willing to pay extra for premium delivery, which is same day or next day delivery. But that still leaves a large share of consumers who are categorically uninterested in paying anything for delivery or returns. Zooming in on Gen Z in Germany, we can see again how sustainability, though important, doesn't rank as highly as some of the more convenient delivery features, such as free returns, very popular, quicker delivery, and cheaper delivery. And this is, for the generation Gen Z, born between 1996 and 2010, that is the most vocal, the loudest, the most active when it comes to climate change and sustainability. But when it comes to e-commerce behavior, other things rank higher. Now, what the German young online consumer would do is wait for longer for free delivery, 65%. And that matches the current cross-border trend that we have with cheaper products coming from far overseas, shipping for 2 to 3 weeks, but it's free, it's cheap, so the consumer doesn't care, they will wait. And interestingly, 61% of young German shoppers still prefer at-home delivery over picking it up in a store or parcel delivery. Now, parcel lockers. We just saw that even young German consumers are not necessarily thrilling to make use of them at a wide scale. But why not? Why are they not the dominant delivery method, at least in major metropolitan areas? Because the advantages of parcel lockers are easy to name for everyone. I mean, they are convenient for the consumer. It's 24/7 pickup of your package. You don't have to be home when your package gets delivered. And from the sellers, retailers, the logistics companies' perspective, parcel lockers are very efficient and sustainable as well, because you can deliver all your packages to one single location. You don't have to ring the doorbell of a parcel locker to see if they open up. So there's a 100% delivery success rate. Seems like a win-win scenario for everyone. But they're not the dominant delivery method yet. And that's because 75% of German consumers say that the use of parcel stations is only an option for them if they are easily accessible to them. That means around the corner from my house or on my way home from work. If there happens to be a parcel locker there, I will gladly use it. But otherwise, no. So the problem is, in that sense, easy to solve. Just build more parcel lockers. For example, DHL in Germany is doing just so. They kind of pioneered this whole concept with the Packstation back in 2000. And are building more rapidly and are going to build a lot more until 2030. And so are other companies in this space as well. But it's not such an easy feat, of course, because finding the physical space to build parcel lockers is expensive, and it also needs to make sense. In rural areas, it's more difficult because people live further apart. But yeah, with more widespread availability of these lockers, this might become the dominant delivery, last mile delivery option in the years to come. Now, we're almost there. But even when the package has been delivered, the customer journey is not at an end, because the post-purchase part of the customer journey is now more important than ever. This is Eurostat data that shows that across Europe, only 42% of e-commerce consumers are always satisfied with their whole experience. That means 58% have had issues with one point or another. And I'm about to show you why post-purchase satisfaction is so important. But first, how do we create post-purchase satisfaction in the first place? What do consumers care about? Now, we've seen a lot of consumer priorities already in this talk, but we're going to start with transparent fulfillment and delivery. Consumers want to know at all times where their package is, where the delivery van is. They want to have a very specific delivery window. And more importantly, they want to be able to reroute the package at the last minute if they change their plans or happen to go somewhere. And returns should be easy. Like the delivery label should already be in the package. They don't want to have to print it out, for example. Then there's product expectation versus reality. Unfortunately, this is becoming more of a problem in e-commerce recently, with, again, cheaper goods coming from far overseas that, when you open the package, what you find there is not at all matching the AI-generated image that you found online. Huge source of frustration. Then if there is frustration, a human customer service is still very important. AI chatbots are all over the place in e-commerce. Makes sense from the retailer's perspective. You can cut labor costs and the technology already exists. But they are not good enough yet for most consumers for them to really feel like they're being helped whenever they have a problem. So investing in human customer service at this very moment, this might change in a year, but at this very moment is still important to consumers. And finally, and this may seem slightly trivial, but quality packaging is a huge part of the whole customer journey and the delivery experience. And I wrote perceived sustainability here, because if you receive a package, you ordered a t-shirt, for instance, and within the package, it is then wrapped in see-through plastic wrapping that seems unsustainable to you. You think as a consumer, like, hey, why does it have this extra plastic in there? That's not good. Or you receive a large box for a tiny product. Now, there are reasons why this is happening. Some of you will know that. Often this extra plastic wrapping helps, the efficiency of the entire process. But for the consumer, it just looks like a waste of resources. It's not perceived as sustainable, and therefore they might shop somewhere else later on. Now, why am I talking about this post-purchase satisfaction? Because the brand effects and the potential positive outcomes are enormous. Starting with a basic one, customer retention. I mean, that's pretty common sense. A customer is happy with their purchase. They will likely buy at your shop again. But the potential brand effects that you can have if the entire customer journey leads to post-purchase satisfaction, they're hard to even measure. Like, think about Stanley Cups, for instance. Like 10 years ago, not many people knew what they were. Now everyone's walking around with them. You just happen to have a micro-influencer who likes to talk about their shopping journey online and is happy with how they were treated, with how everything went, with how personal everything was. They might write something on social media and yeah, your brand will go through the roof. The chances are still relatively slim, but there's such a potential gold mine to be earned there, which is why the post-purchase customer journey is very important. Now I'm almost out of time. I know I've been going quite fast. I did prepare a key takeaway slide, but I'm going to skip over that for now. You can have a look later at the presentation at your own leisure. And for now, I just want to thank you all for your attention. I hope it wasn't too much in one go. Please download the presentation here and enjoy the rest of your expo.